You know, everybody likes explosive growth, and my thought has always been, well, explosions break things. And if it needs to be broken, that's
wears
fine.
out quickly.
But,
yeah,
it really
it can.
It wears people out. Hey everybody, welcome to the Leader Lab. This is Leadership Shorts, quick thoughts to help you level up your leadership. My name is Chad Wright. I'm the founder of Forward Partners, and I'm joined, as always, by my partner in podcasting, Emily Grace Deal. Emily Grace Deal, what are we talking about today?
We often gravitate to leaders who are bold, loud, action-oriented.
Sure. Yeah.
There are obvious advantages to that type of leader, right? But is there a more successful type of leader that we should be celebrating?
I don't know if it's more or less successful, but there is definitely a steadier type of leader. And I think this part of this came out of a TEDx talk I was watching. There's a management historian named Martin Gutman. He's from Germany, so I'm going to assume Gutman. This is how I spend my free time. Is I'm like, let's watch a TEDx talk about management historians. But he was talking about this idea that there are really quiet leaders that we don't celebrate. We don't put them on the pedestal because it's not flashy. It's not exciting. It's not fun. There's not these massive leaps they take, right? And I think part of this is understanding that there is so much value to this. And what he's talking about in this is these two quests to get to, I think it was the North Pole. Mm-hmm. And so it was these two quests, and one of them was flashy and amazing. And the thing is, the guy failed over and over and over and over and over again. Like, people died in the processes because he was this bold, loud leader. And he could inspire people. But a lot of people died, and he never made it.
I mean, isn't there like an older story about this, like tortoise and hare? Isn't that very similar?
There really is. And what's interesting is the guy that did make it. Slow, steady, same amount of progress every day. Like, there was this difference. But what's interesting historically is the one that was slow and steady, there's like 2 books written about him, and this guy wrote them both.
Yeah.
The other guy, there's like a dozen books written about him, right? And I think if you look at the business world and the leadership world in general, we do celebrate the big, the bold, the leaps, the how are we going to blow things up today
easier.
And rethink everything.
Yeah.
But the reality is, the quiet leadership is steady. It's about little progress. It's about, hey, we're going to get there, but it's going to take a while. Mm-hmm. It's going to take patience. And there's things that are required for that, the patience and the intentionality. You really got to be kind of healthy to do that, right?
Yeah,
it's easy to get into bold mode, but bold mode breaks things as much as not. You know, everybody likes explosive growth, and my thought has always been, well, explosions break things. And if it needs to be broken, that's
wears
fine.
out quickly.
It really
can.
It wears people out because there's this constant, usually with the bold leader, there can be this stop and start. There can be this, hey, we're changing directions today. We're going a different way tomorrow. That gets exhausting.
I feel like a part of it too, maybe like in our brain, we know that we can't keep that pace. And so we know that at a certain point, we're going to have to take a step back and feel maybe inadequate or like less than because we aren't.
Yes.
We don't have that same energy all the time.
That's where I think you're right. And most of this comes down to, what do we value? Mm-hmm. Do we value the big leaps? Do we value the explosive growth? Or do we value steadiness? Do we value that steady growth, that steady pace? Because the thing is, the leader that's going to inspire the explosive growth is also probably a little more explosive themselves.
Well, we like fast results, but patience takes a little more work.
Absolutely.
And it's harder.
and we're always, like, if you look at every self-help book, the reason they exist is everybody's looking for the key. We all know how to do these things. We know how to be skinny. We know how to be rich. We know how to be all the things we want to be. We just don't want to do the things necessary to do that, right? Mm-hmm. My joke is always, I really love scotch and pizza. And so that's probably going to stop me from being skinny. I know how to be skinny. You go to the gym 3 or 4 times a week and you watch what you eat. You're reasonable about it. It literally is that simple. Leadership is very similar. Like, it is not that complex to be a healthy leader.
Yeah, we just have to get over the hurdles and between us and that.
We do, and most of it's mindset, right? Mm-hmm. It is, am I choosing to do the things to be steady? Am I willing to value that and say that steady, quiet leadership is actually long-term better than explosive, loud, flashy leadership?
Yeah, for me, it's really that patience piece.
That's the hard part, right? Yes. Because it really takes time to build anything great. And the thing is, with explosive growth, is it can happen, but is that growth then built on a foundation that can hold it up? Is that thing going to last?
Right.
And I just find this idea really interesting of being able to really start to celebrate quiet, steady, these patience, these terms that are about, we're going to get there and it's going to take a while.
Yeah.
Because ultimately that is about the long-term picture versus short-term.
Yes.
And I think I just find it interesting that we don't value that. We don't model that. We don't put that person.
Yeah, it's not as easy to praise. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. It's tough. And I think a lot of this goes to the private equity world. It's really hard to raise money on quiet and steady. Yes. They all want their billions of dollars back instantly. So
I bet you social media has something to do with it too, because it's easier to put that flashy post or that excitement thing. It
is. You know what's so funny is as you say that, it is so easy, even in our world, for me to put up posts and be like, hey, I spoke at this conference and I did this thing. But really the thing that pushes our business forward is like literally yesterday when we as a team sat with a whiteboard and mapped my capacity.
Yeah.
And really mapped out, are we sure we're doing the right things? Do we need to change things? Do we need to modify? That is in no way flashy.
We don't always remember to take a picture of the whiteboard as well as the event.
And it's a really hard conversation. But yeah, like a picture of a whiteboard on social media, like, hey, we spent 2 hours talking about how I spend my time. That is in no way flashy.
Yeah.
That's what's going to push our business forward. It is not standing on a stage at a conference. Right. And so I think you're right. Social media has a lot to do with that. And we need as leaders, I think, to value and celebrate the little progress, the little quiet wins, more so than the others. Leaders, let's talk next steps. I'm curious, which type of leader are you? And I think we can kind of be both. Are you the big, flashy, bold, let's go, let's make big changes? Or are you the steady, quiet, intentional, we're going to make progress and steady progress? And understanding there's times for both, but if we're defaulting to the bold and the flashy all the time, we're probably wearing people out around us. I know I've been that person before, and I wore my team out in a really bad way. So that steadiness, we need to learn to value it. And I think understanding what type of leader do we want to be and really intentionally choosing that and understanding there's advantages and disadvantages on both sides. And we need to celebrate the quiet a little bit more. All right. I love this subject. I love watching nerdy TEDx talks and being like, hey, let's talk about this on a podcast. I love that you love it
because then you can just pass the information on.
I really do. This is literally how I spend my free time. If people want to send us topics, though, if they want to send us TED Talks, they want us to dissect.
Yes.
Where do they send that to?
To lab@forwardpartners.net.
Lab@forwardpartners.net. If they want to find us online, where we're putting out leadership development content all the time on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, where do they find that?
@ForwardPartner.
@ForwardPartner on all the major platforms. Emily, thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
John, thank you for producing. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing. If you find these talks valuable, please share this with fellow leaders. We want to extend that reach, make sure we're impacting as many people as we possibly can. We will see you next time right here in the Leader Lab for Leadership Shorts.